Unity Spiritual Campus. So glad you're here. You know, you kind of feel for some of those other New Thought centers across the country because they have to wait to the peace song before they do their swaying. No, we're doing our moving and our swaying right from the very beginning, yes? Are you here to be alive today? To be fully alive and present in your energetic body?
Something got a hold of me. Oh, yes, it did one day. Something got a hold of me.
So now let's gather up all that energy. Because it's a new day. Yes.
Whew. I have to say, I am actually honored that I have had the opportunity to rub elbows with some great leaders. One of them being our very own Dr. Reverend Temple Hayes.
Hi, this is Jamie De La Luz, Youth and Family Minister of First Unity Spiritual Campus, and we are so excited about the Youth Expressing Spirit. Yes, our Youth and Family Ministry.
Is inconceivable. The love that God shows, the love that He shows is unconditional. The power of the Lord is unbeatable. Great is the God we serve. Come on, sing it again. The greatness of the Lord. The greatness of the Lord is inconceivable. The love that God shows, the love that He shows is unconditional. The power of the Lord is unbeatable. Great is the God we serve. God is great. God is great
And greatly to be praised. Come on.
and greatly to be praised.
Come on, sing, y'all.
God is great
Greatly to be praised. Yes.
and greatly to be praised.
All right, come on, y'all. Let's go back to the top. The greatness, let me hear you.
The greatness of the Lord is
Come on, social media.
inconceivable.
Yes, the love that God
Love that
shows.
He shows is unconditional.
Power of the
Power of
Lord.
the Lord is unbeatable.
Great.
Great is the God we serve. to be praised. God is great.
Greatly to be praised.
And greatly to be praised.
Come on, take it up. You know how it goes.
God is great.
Greatly to be praised.
And greatly to be praised. God is great.
Greatly to be praised.
And greatly to be praised. God is great.
Oh,
Whoa. And greatly to be praised. God is great.
oh,
Whoa. And greatly to be praised. God is great.
yeah, greatly to be praised.
And greatly to be praised. God is great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And greatly to be praised. God is great.
Oh,
Oh,
greatly
to be praised. God is great.
Oh,
Oh,
greatly to be
to
praised.
be praised. God is great.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Greatly
yeah.
to be praised. God is great.
Oh, and greatly.
And greatly to be praised. God is great.
Oh,
Oh,
greatly.
to be praised. God is great.
And greatly.
And greatly to be praised. God is great.
Oh,
Oh,
greatly.
to be praised.
Yeah.
God is great.
Oh, God is great.
God is great.
Yeah, don't you know that God is?
God is great.
Say it from your heart and greatly.
And greatly to be praised.
know God is great because look at all these amazing creations here. Wow. Give them a great big hand from wherever you are and whatever part of the world that you're watching us. Wow. Welcome to First Unity Spiritual Campus. We are the most electrifying, dynamic, energized spiritual community in the world. And we greet you today with an open heart. We are convinced that is what is transformative. We're not here to change the world. We're here to open our hearts so we can see the heart of the world. It has been there all along. Hello. So welcome to the teaching where there's no shame, there's no guilt, and if you're over 30, please stop blaming your parents. Right? Cut it out. Let's move on. Give those people a break. So we accept responsibility for how we work with the natural laws that have been in effect for millions of years. Don't argue with them. You're wasting your time. Your little dot of life is a dot on the blurb of the universe. So work with it so you can be a mighty, mighty presence and force. If you would please stand with me as we state our great invocation, as we honor our history of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore of Unity. We are now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. We acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. In thy divine wisdom, now erase our mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation our world according to thy perfect law. We're saying bring it. We're calling it in. We acknowledge the new world. Bring it. Bring it in and bring it on. If you are with us on Facebook, please check in. Let us know that you're there and engage with us, okay? And talking about engaging, leave comments. And if you're willing, go a step further with your comments instead of saying great song or happy or, you look good or or, great message or whatever. Could you go a step further and tell us why that's so for you, if you're willing? We're not asking to do therapy online or anything, but just let us know. Go to the next level, because we do what we do because of all of you. We have people joining us today from Bermuda, from Eugene, Oregon, from West Africa, from Paris, from all over, and we honor you in that essence. And speaking of all over the world, our online university is really doing a focus in the African market right now. We're getting lots of feedback, and that's Illy. And so we appreciate your involvement in that, and we've just added several new courses. So check it out. It's always changing, just like us. We have 3 ways to connect with you. To connect, watch, or to give to this community, and we love the handwritten notes. So thank you for those, and all of us, we read them and we talk about them at staff meeting. Touches our heart. One of the things they say with whether you as a person or you as a collective group of people or as a tribe is to know what you stand for. Because if you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for anything. Am I right? Feedback in the room? Am I right? Just say yes, I'll tell you later. Here at First Unity, we honor artists, healers, seekers, and activists. That is who we are and clearly defined. So this year, 2020, we are featuring the Year of Influencers. We wanted to look across the world and see what are some of life's solutions. People tell me that all the time. I love new thought, but often with teachers and ministers, it's just this big, broad, vague, be happy, it's all in divine plan. And they go, I need some meat and potatoes or some tofu. I need to have a takeaway. I need to know what practical applications can help my life. So we have brought in today one of the leading edge people to talk about hope and how it applies to our children. Now, if you just heard that and you go, well, I don't have any children, then watch that. You have a child that you carry around every day inside you, okay? If you say, I've already raised my children, then they're going to have children. Or you know someone that does. The message applies to you. So we greet Florence and Romano today. We're so fortunate to have her. She is the Windy City Nanny. She has been featured all over the world. She is a modern day specialist on integrating moving forward. They call her the modern day Mary Poppins. Now, boy, talk about a compliment, right? So you are in for a real treat. Childcare is one of the greatest issues that we have in America, and we want to be part of addressing that. Remember, here, we're not just hanging out with the people that live like us and act like us and talk like us. We are expanding so that we can influence all the causes of the world. 55% of children in the world are abused. More so in the U.S., abuse, and a huge percentage of those are in 2 or 3 particular states. We have work to do. That's why we do what we do. There's work to be done. And we want to thank Florence Ann for being with us today to share with us some insights we can all use. She's been on shows like Home and Family, The Doctor, The Diva, Fox News, Good Day Chicago, The Jenny McCarthy Show, Sirius XM, and more. And speaking of more, we now have a teachable moment with Reverend Richard Boggs. Yeah! Let's go this way.
Take a deep breath in. A teachable moment. You know, on a personal, excuse me, I'm a little choked up already. On a personal level, it's been a difficult year for myself. Everything's not hunky-dory, smooth sailing for pastors and preachers and teachers and spiritual leaders. We have bumps in the road also. I mean, in this year, I've had things come against me that I didn't expect. Divorce. I'm getting a little feedback. Divorce. Parents dying, loved ones dying, and then we have the corona. But what has kept me strong is the pillar that I know. The pillar that I can always lean on, and that is God. God is the ultimate pillar. I think it's Romans chapter 8, like verse 23 says, all things work together for the good of those who love God. All things work together. That takes maturity to understand working together, what that means. All things work together for the good, no matter how uncomfortable it is in your skin or your flesh or your finances or your surrounding. Know that the pillar is going to prove that all things work together for the good who love God. And you say, but I don't understand that last part. Love God. You've got to love yourself because the God of the universe is within you. How can you love other people, you may ask, if you can't love yourself? So love yourself, dig deep, and all the things that work out for your good, it all awakens the Christ consciousness within you, the God within you. And I say, I know that God is still a pillar within me because the God of the universe has never left me, even through troubles and turbulent times. I know that God loves me just the way I am, with all my bumps and moles, all my imperfections. And know that God is ready today to show a miracle in your life. Thank you for joining us.
Comes and someone stands to fight. Anytime somebody lives to serve and not to serve, I know. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move in a mighty way. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move today. Anytime that weakness stumble upon your knees, or dares to speak the truth that sets men free. Anytime the choice is made to stand on the word, I know. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move in a mighty way. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move today. I see your generation standing on the truth. In each and every day, say God is on the move. Anytime the gospel serves a searching soul, and someone says, send me here, I go. I know. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move in a mighty way. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move today. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move in a mighty way. God is on the move,
know, part of what we envision here at First Unity is we are here to invoke and call forth difference makers. That is what we do. We're not here to ignite followers, except on Facebook. But we're here to create leaders. So today we ignite the visionary. And the way to ignite the visionary within you is good, healthy, wonderful medicine called storytelling. There's a story of a man who has rag clothes. He's homeless. And he looks at this local castle where the king lives, and there's a sign that says, "Party for the king," a big celebration. And he goes up to the guard at the gate and he says, I really want to go. And the guard kind of looked at him and like, "Please go away." And in a little while, with his tenacity, he came back. And he came back and he said, "But I really, really want to come to the celebration for the king." And he said, "Could I talk to the king?" And the guard said, "You're not going away, so yes. Come on in. I'll have you see the king." So he goes to the king and he says, "I really want to come. You're a great king. I want to come." And he said, "But I don't have the right clothes to wear." And the king says, "You know what? You are like almost identical to the size of my son." He calls his son and he says, "Bless this man. You have so many royal outfits and clothing. Take care of him. Give him your best and your finest." And so the man from rags puts on this new attire and he looks in the mirror and wow, isn't he in this essence of, oh my gosh, for the first time, I am so electrified in this energetic being. And then he thinks about his rags. And he runs over to where they had packed them. And he takes them in his hand. And he holds on to them. "I need my rags. It's part of how I identify with myself." And so throughout the whole evening, everywhere he would go, he hung on and would cling to the rags. He held on to them. He clung to them. And the entire evening, people called him the man with the bag of rags. Wow. That is what so many people are doing right now, is that many people have called in a new world. Many people have called in the ability to see the world is beautiful just the way it is. Open your heart and see it. Many people have said something needs to change. How many of you have said something needs to change? Well, guess what? You know, often change is radical. Often change is big. Often change leaves you, woo, right? And you and I right now are able to wear the king's attire because we're drawing, and many people are probably drawing for the first time from a creator saying, "I'm surrendering here. I'm surrendering here." But what do people keep doing? Grabbing those old rags. What do they keep doing? "Yeah, but my life, I identify my life with where I used to work. I identify my church the way it was before COVID. Oh, and I want life to get back the way it used to be." God is not a Maytag repair person. Get real. Get real. You don't ever want to create life the way it used to be because that is not working with the flow of creation. Let go of those bags of rags and become a visionary and get excited about the time that we're living in. It's a blurb in the universe. And if you've lived a life 1,000 times of reincarnation, this is a zip. Be with it, celebrate it, look forward, and therefore you'll begin to see the gifts that are theirs. Wear your new attire, for it is a blessing to you. Thank you for listening. AT&T.
color of loyal. My favorite sound is your smile. Oh, I'm intoxicated with joyful. Oh, I am moved by you. Oh, I am moved by you. I feel you on the bottom of my feet, the very blush in my cheek. I love the taste of the words you don't say. You're the very meaning of peace. I am a 10,000 petal flower unfolding in this moment. I feel so vulnerable and so empowered. It's everything, it's nothing, it's perfect. Oh, I am moved by you. Oh, I am moved by you. You're the eyes of a child. You're a horse running wild. You're the cracking open of a heart. You make me feel so alive. I am honored to know the twinkle of your star. Oh, I am moved by you. Oh, I am moved by you. Hey, oh, la, 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 la. Oh, oh, la, I am moved. La, 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 la. I give thanks for my time upon this planet Earth. By all of your beauty, I am so inspired. Your love has baptized me by fire. Oh, I am moved by you. Oh, I am moved by you. Hey, oh, I am moved by you. Oh, I am moved by you.
Oh, moved by you. And God is on the move. Here at First Unity, we believe in the power of prayer and we believe in the power of meditation. Many have said that prayer is talking to God and meditation is that pause when we listen to God. You know, Jesus in Mark 11:24 taught us how to pray. He taught us how to pray when he said, and I'm paraphrasing, when he said, ask for what you want, believe it, and know that it is what will come to you. So as we, in unity and around the world, know that affirmative prayer lifts us up to a higher vibration, think on that for a moment. What is it today that you are hoping and wanting to manifest in your life? and say an affirmative prayer. Like you have asked for it and you believe and know it is already on its way to you. That is exactly what Jesus taught us. And somewhere along the way, that gets lost in the translation that we need to beg and plead. But no, we ask for it and we know we already have it. We believe we have it already. We know that deep down in our soul, that we are all children of God and God wants us to be successful and prosper. So just like that 10,000 petal flower, radiate your love out to the world and you will be empowered. You will be empowered and you will receive what it is you seek. So go into prayer and then into meditation and do it affirmatively as a positive step forward for your success and your prosperity, and know whatever it is you ask for, you have already received. And so it is.
Fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough.
Every single lie tells me I will never measure up.
Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low?
Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know.
Oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe. Oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me.
In you I find my failure. In you I find my identity. Oh, you say I am strong when I can feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong. You say I am yours, and I believe. I believe what you say of me. I believe.
Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet.
You have every failure, God, and you'll have every victory.
Oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong am weak. You say I am held when I am full of joy. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, oh, I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe, I believe, what you say of me. I believe you, I believe, I believe.
And now let's give a great big warm First Unity welcome to the one and only Florence and Romano. We welcome you and we say, bring it on. Bring it on.
Hi. Oh my gosh, Reverend, thank you for having me for this incredible opportunity and to be a part of this service today. I have just been rocking and rolling over here myself, listening to the beautiful music and the beautiful words, and feel like my soul is just on fire. I'm so thrilled to be able to talk about what I describe as the 3 pillars of hope. And thank you so much for making the disclaimer that even if you don't have children, and even though I'm a child care expert, even though I hate that title, like expert or something like that, I think it's just, that's where my heart lives. Honestly, that's why I do what I do, because that's just the place in my body that my heart lives. It's not just meant to talk about children. It's about talking about the higher level of it, how that plays into your lives. And so giving a little background on me and how this came to be in my life, which I think really was kind of a preordained thing. And I think a lot of us believe that we look at life and the different signs that we get and the different conversations that we have with God and the meditation that was just mentioned about kind of just like listening to what's being said to you. I think all of that kind of culminated in me having this platform in life. And really what ended up happening was that years and years ago when I was a little girl, I loved baby dolls. I loved baby dolls of any kind. I wanted to have thousands of them. I used to ask my mom to take me to the hospital so I could have my baby. And what I meant by that was, can you please take me to the toy store so I can have a baby doll, or you could buy me a baby doll? That's what it meant to go to the hospital. So I would get a baby doll and I'd come home and I'd write birth certificates for all the babies. I mean, I was ready to be a mama from the time I was a little girl. And here's the irony of it all. I'm almost 35 years old and I am not married and don't have any children of my own, but my whole life was dedicated to children from a very early age. I was a nanny for over 15 years and worked with many different families, many different children. And I saw more things that taught me about the priceless gifts in life during that time than probably any other experience in my life. And the reason I was called to taking care of children, besides the story about me making birth certificates for my children, my babies when I was younger, was the idea that I felt I understood what children were experiencing inwardly, what they wanted to try to articulate even before they could speak. And I started also to create an environment with parents that was sacred and it was safe and it was a conversation. And I learned so many things from all these different parents taking care of their children, about the dynamics of family, about the values of family. And I started to think to myself as I experienced all these things in all these different families and all these different children and all these different parents and all these different ways of raising kids and just being a part of this world and life, started to think about that word values. And I want to talk about why values is such an important part of these 3 pillars. I'm going to describe the 3 pillars, and I'm going to talk about why, of course, it applies to children, but why, more importantly, it applies to all of us in any idiom, because it's not just about raising children or deciding you want to be a parent or how you treat your grandchildren or you as a guardian or you as a caretaker. It's more about looking inward and figuring out how you navigate the waters. And I truly think that the best way to do that is from a place of values. So the 3 pillars that I have, I always say that you have to build your village, ask for help, and let love in. So I'll say that again, the 3 pillars of hope, that you build your village, you ask for help, and you let love in. Now, this applies to children and parents, and I'm going to talk about why, but I want you to remember those 3 as I talk about the general idea of these pillars and how it applies to your life. So this idea of building a village, okay, you heard this cliche 1,000 times. You need a village to raise children. You need a village to raise children. Okay, great. But I always think to myself, okay, you say this, but like, where is the village? And can you call a phone number or something to point out where that village is? Because it seems like it's just kind of this ambiguous thing. And I really wanted to try to show parents and caregivers and guardians how to build that village when they felt that that village didn't exist around them just automatically. And many times in the world, it doesn't. That you do have to work hard at finding the people that support you. I mean, look at what you experience here in your spiritual community. That's village. So it's not just talking about children and raising them. It's talking about the idea that you need to surround yourself with the right type of people that feed your soul, that help you dream, help you understand what your dreams are role models, all of that. So that's the first pillar. Second, when you are asking for help in your life, that moment of realizing that you can't do it all yourself, that you don't want to do it all yourself, maybe, that's a humbling moment. That's something that you really kind of just stops you in your tracks and you think to yourself, okay, wait a second. I am not in control here like I thought I was. And you know what? We're not. I've learned that the hard way so many times in my life, that you think you're controlling everything and you're not. We're not really the ones in control. What we are in control of is doing the work, doing the real inner work, figuring out who we are, what we want to be, who we want to be to this world, how we want to leave this world, what sort of mark we're going to make. Temple said earlier, it's all kind of a blip on the radar, and it is. So what are you going to do at that time while you're here? Well, I don't believe that you should be doing anything really alone. I think asking for help is a really powerful thing. When it comes to children, I think we live in a world today where parents think that they need to know all the answers, that they have to be super mom and super dad and super grandma and grandpa, and that if they don't do it themselves, then they have failed. And this idea of failure too, it's been given such a bad rap, that failure, this world today, you can't fail. You can't fail. That's a bad word. It's a bad word. You can't ever say the word failure. And I don't believe that. I believe failure is where you learn. Failure is that place where you get to do that reflection. And so as you think about asking for help and what it is in your life that you need help with and where you need that support, I want to encourage you and celebrate you right now for those of you that do that do ask for help and know that you don't have to do it alone, and it doesn't mean you failed. And with children specifically, you can't imagine what that world would look like if you were doing everything in a silo, everything by yourself. Children need to have outside influences. Children need to have role models that are beyond just their nuclear family. That's why that idea of village is so important. And then you bring in the idea of asking for people to be a part of that village. And why are you asking them to be a part of that village? Because you want help instilling those values in them. You want them to experience different cultures and different feelings and learning to talk about their emotions in a certain way. It's all about the community. It's all about making sure that you understand that the best thing you could ever do for your children, the best thing you could ever do for yourself is to have other people helping you along. Why wouldn't you want that? Why would you want to be alone in this journey? No one wants to be alone in it. You want to feel love. You want to feel those arms around you physically or around your heart in a spiritual way, whatever it might be. And asking for help is the way to take steps toward feeling like you are supported and loved in this great way, this bigger way, this spiritual way, this visceral way. Letting love in. That is the third pillar that I have. I could talk about letting love in till I'm blue in the face, but the one thing that I've noticed, one common denominator with children and parents, is that this foundation of love and what love means to everyone is different. How we show love is different to everybody. But this idea of letting love into your life, I wanted to talk a little bit about my background in a personal way and what love really means to me and how I saw love illustrated in my life. So I'm the oldest of 4 children. And my brother, Michael, is 17 months younger than I am and has autism. And growing up with a brother with special needs taught me more than I could probably ever describe. But one of the most important things I learned through Michael was about pure love. And it was watching how my mom learned so much about something that was so unknown at the time. Autism wasn't something anyone kind of really knew about back then, and he was diagnosed at 2. And, you know, my dad was working hard in his career in the family business, and he kind of was removed from raising Michael and dealing with his autism and how to best help him. So my mom took that all on herself, took on how to figure out how to be the best mother for this child and empower him. And she ended up asking for a lot of help. Again, going back to all these pillars, they all kind of weave together. She asked for a lot of help from different people in the world, all around the country, to kind of figure out how to give this little angel on earth the best possibility he had for a life here that meant something and that he was loved. And so I saw that love that my mom gave my brother from a very early age. And that has always stuck with me. And to this day, I watch how my mom and my siblings and my cousins and my friends love on my brother. And it was through Michael that I really learned about compassion and empathy. I talk about empathy a lot in the work that I do. I think empathy is kind of the secret to it all. I think empathy is how you learn to really love. And so letting love into your life, I believe that it is through the experiences that you have, what you are surrounded with, and how you learn from it, how you learn tolerance, how you learn compassion, how you learn to agree to disagree or whatever it is. But that's love. Learning how to really feel what someone else feels, even if it's not something you're familiar with, even if it's not something you agree with. But empathy is so important. And I learned that from a very early age because of growing up with a brother with special needs. And not only just that, I grew up in an old-fashioned Italian family. My grandparents lived with us growing up, my mom's parents, my Nana and Papa. If you're wondering why I have such an old-fashioned name, it comes from my grandmother. I'm named after my grandmother. She was the love of my life. She got her angel wings about 4 years ago, and my Papa about 5 years ago. So being without them physically, I hate, but what I love is that they are with me every minute of the day. And when I was thinking about doing this talk today, I wondered where I was going to do it. And I'm actually at my mom's house and in my grandparents' room. I think it's a very sacred space because this is where God reached in and took them home. And I just felt this was the right place to be when talking about love and the pillars of hope. And growing up with grandparents, living in the home, that also was something that taught me empathy. Those were also things that taught me these lessons about love, because you see this circle of life happen with that. You learn that, okay, those grandparents are taking care of you when you're young. They're changing your diapers. They're teaching you all the important lessons about life. But as the years go on and you go and ride that circle, all of a sudden, you, the grandchild, become the caretaker. And that's what ended up happening in my family. You know, Nana changed my diapers, but then I was the one changing hers at the end of her life. And that's love. I learned love through my grandparents. I learned what it meant to show unconditional love. And I remember my Nana saying to me at the end, "It shouldn't be like this, Florence Ann. You shouldn't have to do these things for me." And I looked at her and I said, of course I do, because that's love. You did it for me, and now I have the honor, the privilege of doing that for you. So as I had taken all these experiences in my life, I started to think about how I was going to employ that as a nanny, how I was going to implement that. And I took all of those life experiences. I kind of felt like I shook it up and I put it into a bag, and it kind of manifested all this crazy, sparkly magic. And it became those 3 pillars of hope. And those 3 pillars were created because of these profound experiences that I've had in my life. And when you look at children today and you talk about the childcare crisis, this childcare crisis has been going on for a while. The truth is, over 64% of families in America today have a nanny or a caretaker. And that is an enormous statistic. Think about that. Those children are being raised or are helping being raised by someone other than their parents. So when you sit back and you start thinking about that, it's like, whoa, that kind of blows my mind a little bit, because that means there are a lot of role models there in that child's life. And you want them to have those role models, but are they the right kind of role models? So that's what I'm here to do, is challenge parents and nannies and caretakers and say, are you doing the right vetting about the people that are in your children's lives? Are they the right type of role models? Think about you, the parent or the guardian. Who do you surround yourself with? Are they making you the best person you can be? Are you surrounding yourself with love that is going to nourish you? Are you doing that for your children? All the things that I talk about in terms of the 3 pillars of hope, that village that you need as a parent, your kids need a village too. Asking for help as a parent, your kids need to ask for help too. They need to learn how to ask for help, why they need to ask for help. And 3, letting love in. Of course, you're going to let love in as an adult, right? You're going to fall in love. You're going to do this and that, whatever it might be. But your children need to have love too. So it's not just limited to talking about kids here. I'm talking about all of us, humanity, learning from those 3 pillars of hope and how it applies to you at different places in your life, different times in your life. And during my time as a nanny, those 15 years were so special, so full of love, so full of so many memories. I could tell you stories till I'm blue in the face. It was the best time of my life, but it was also extremely challenging too, because I was experiencing things that other people were not, especially children my age. I was involved with these children's lives in a way that was so intimate, was so sacred, and it took such responsibility. And I felt that profound sense of responsibility. And I'll give you an example of this. So there was a little girl that I nannied for. I loved her to bits and pieces. Her parents were very hard on her growing up. They expected a lot of her academically. And there was one particular day where I was there and I was doing homework with the kids at the table. And the little girl excused herself and went upstairs, and she was gone just a little too long. You know how your intuition tells you that feeling? Well, I had that feeling kind of tugging at me. So I went upstairs, and she was in the bathroom, and I heard from the other side of the door that she was making herself sick. And I asked if I could come in, and she let me come in, and she's sitting there on the floor, and she's just red-faced and crying. My heart is breaking and bleeding. So I sit down next to her, and we lay down on the floor on the cold tile, and she just starts spewing all of her feelings. Emotionally, she just lets it rip. And if you know anything about me, I'm someone that is all about emotional intelligence. I'm all about connecting in that way. And I was so proud of this little girl at that moment that she felt she could talk to me about what she was truly feeling. And as we were laying there, she said to me, Florence, I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's too much pressure. I'm not good enough. I don't know. I can't do it. And I'm thinking to myself, this girl is so smart. She's so smart. She shouldn't be feeling this way about herself. So finally, we were able to talk it out and calmed her down. And she went to bed that night. The parents came home, and I said to myself, okay, you're not going to deal with this tonight. You need to go home. You need to pray about it. You need to think about it. You need to figure out what you're going to do. And I knew I needed to do something. And you know what's funny in life? And I've realized this. I didn't know it back then at the time. I was only 16 at the time, might I add, when this happened. It was kind of a young age to be dealing with something so big. But what I've realized in life is it's all about tact. It's all about how you decide you're going to talk to someone or address something. And in this moment, I was straddling a very fine line. I had to figure out how to keep her trust, because she trusted me not to go blabbing about her feelings to her parents. But I also have the responsibility to protect her and to also have a responsibility to the parents to protect their child and to tell them about something that's going on that they may not know. Oftentimes in life, I think we see things that other people don't. And nannies and caretakers, we have usually a glimpse into the children's world sometimes that the parents don't. We see things that they don't. And it's our job to make sure that we are setting those kids up for success, and we're helping parents figure out how to be successful as a family. I always talk about the trifecta. The trifecta are the three things that are the most important to me as a nanny: the parents, the children, and the nanny relationship. It's that trifecta that brings you that success. So here I am trying to think about, how do I implement that trifecta in this moment, this very tender moment? So a couple days later, I sat down with the parents and I said, this is what happened, and I want to try to find a way to fix it. What can we do together to try to help her? So she knows she's loved. She knows she's beautiful. She knows she's smart. She's empowered. She's ready to take on the world. I never attacked those parents. I never sat there and said, I can't believe you would treat your child like this, and look at how she feels, and shame on you. No, that's not how you get things done. In life in general, you do not get things done that way, by attacking. Look at the world we live in today. So many emotions. Attacking. No one's listening when you're doing that. Find a way to make sure you are listening. So that's what I did. Sat down with them, and we came up with a plan to help her. They thanked me for bringing it to their attention. They did not know she was feeling that way. Now, fast forward many years. This was a couple years ago. I was at a wedding, and she was there, the little girl I nannied for, who is no longer a little girl, thriving in life and beautiful and fabulous and all those wonderful things. We see each other across the dance floor, and we run toward each other. She gives me a big hug, and she pulls away from me and has tears in her eyes and said, you are still the voice in my head all these years later. And oh my God, I'm crying now thinking about it. That's the holy grail for a nanny, for a parent, for a caretaker, whoever it is. It is your goal in life to know that you did something that helps them in a moment where they feel lost or they feel like they're not good enough. And I've been there, we've all been there where we don't feel good enough. And it was such a privilege to be able to be there for her in that moment. And when I went off after being a nanny to write my children's book and start to take this platform on as talking about the childcare crisis in America, that moment constantly plays in a loop in my head. And I think to myself, how many people have that same story, as some sort of version of that story? And that's when I really decided that I needed to get out there and talk about childcare and how important it is that we take it very seriously about how we are supporting children in the world today. And it starts at home. It starts in the sandbox. It starts from a very early age. And now we have COVID. And what COVID brought to light was that there is the childcare crisis in America regarding who's taking care of these children. Because when you don't have daycare and you don't have nannies and parents still have to go to work, who's taking care of these children? And I like to think positively about a lot of things. It's hard to look at COVID and think positively, but I do believe a seismic shift in the world is happening through moments like this. I believe there is a cleansing going on. There's a manifestation of something larger happening that kind of needs to shake us to get our attention. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I thought to myself, if this never happened, if COVID never happened, we'd have a pandemic, childcare would have never gotten all the coverage it did in the news. They were talking about now we have no daycares, what's happening to these kids, what's happening to them in school, the abuse rates are going up, everything, all this stuff was happening in the media. And I sat there and thought to myself, maybe this is the silver lining. Maybe this is what the country needed in order to take seriously how much children need to be the priority. And we need to be setting children up for success. We need to set parents up for success. We need to take seriously the idea of family and whatever family means today, because it means so many different things. Families are built so many different ways, and it's beautiful. But the common denominator are those three things that I talked about: building a village, asking for help, and letting love in. And that is what I'm looking to do and have dedicated my life to doing, is trying to figure out how to solve this childcare crisis. And I believe the answer is somewhere within those three pillars of hope. But we need to rally everybody around. We need to get everyone to be part of this crusade. And one thing that I always say, and I always think about regarding a passion project of yours or whatever it might be, one of my favorite quotes is, if you don't give things up to faith, if you don't give things up to faith, then you are doomed to live a life dominated by doubt. And I truly believe that it is through faith, and it is through love, and it is through the experiences around me that I have lifted up that quote, lives inside of me, lifted it up and use that to guide what it is that I'm doing. That faith has a big part of why we decide to do what we do, because that voice, that intuition that we all have, that we suppress so much as we get older, that's what we need to learn to get in tune with. And we need to teach children from a young age how to do that too. And at the very end of the day, Maya Angelou, one of my favorite people to quote or to think about in terms of embodiment of a spirit and of a heart, her quote is that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that is my philosophy in life every single day. That is my philosophy for children. That is my philosophy for parents. Think about how you are making people feel and how you leave them. If you can dedicate yourself to making sure that you are living that quote every single day, and it's guiding every single thing you do, then you are going to end up on the right side of it all. Because it is about how you make people feel and the empathy and understanding. So at the end of the day, I want to challenge all of you to think about that quote, how you will leave this world, how you will make people feel. And if you are having trouble figuring out how to do that, how to guide yourself in doing that? What do you use as a measuring stick for it? The 3 pillars of hope are there to help you do that. What kind of village do you have? How are you asking for help about the things, the nooks and crannies of your life that maybe you don't excel at, but you know you want to get better at? And then also love. How do you let that love in? If you can keep those 3 pillars of hope close to your heart and use them as a measuring stick and something to vet all the different situations that might come to you in life, then I really think you are going to live a richer life, a happier life, a more grounded life, and come from a place of humble understanding and continuous growth. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be able to share bits and pieces of my life and why I've dedicated myself to this cause. And I'm so excited for the future, hopefully to connect with those of you that this is speaking to, because I do believe in the collective. And I think it's going to take all of us to shift the world, and I can already feel it happening. And I think today, in this moment with all of you, I have felt this world shift again. And I'm truly, honestly humbled and overjoyed to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for blessing us, Florence and Romano. It was our privilege and pleasure to have you speak from the wisdom, and more importantly, and in addition to your life experience and your wisdom, we're very, very grateful. And now, speaking of children, we have a whole department called the Youth Expressing Spirit. Enjoy them.
Hey, cousins.
Hi.
What are you sharing with us today?
The fruit of the Spirit.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. What kind of fruits are you eating today?
We have a lychee, plum, and lychee. We have apple. We have kiwi. We have a guava. We have a clementine. We have a cherry. And another green apple.
So that sounds like some healthy treats.
Yeah, that's why I eat them all.
Where do those come from?
They come from Earth.
They come from God's earth. Yeah. And what are the fruits of the Spirit? Archer, can you share your first 3?
Love, joy, peace.
And what do those mean to you?
It basically means that the sky and everything was made by God. All the plants and animals and food.
And is that how you feel the love, joy, and the peace in your life?
Yes, and vegetables.
Where can Callie put the fruit that he's finished eating?
You can put it in there so it can grow there.
Yeah. There it goes. It's going to start growing another tree.
And then we'll have tons of fruit.
Mikai, can you say your 3 again one more time?
Faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
And what do those mean to you, my dear?
Things that I need to learn.
I also raised my hand. Faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
Patience, kindness, and goodness.
And how are you going to practice those in your life?
By being patient and kind and good.
And we are all naturally good because we are God's beautiful children. Everyone say, I am God's child.
I am God's child.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'm looking for a miracle. Expect the impossible. I feel the intangible. I see the invisible. I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. limit to what I can have. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, the sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, just believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey, just believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Woo! The sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, the sky is the limit to what I can have. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, yeah, believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey, just believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Come on, soprano. Woo! I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way. Alto! I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way. I don't know. Tenor! I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way. I don't know when. I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way. One more time. I expect a miracle every day. God will make a way. Take it away. I expect a miracle. 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 The sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, yeah. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, yeah. To believe and receive it, God will perform it today.
Take it to wherever you want to take it. Believe in your miracles today. I believe that God is going to perform great miracles for everybody.
The sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, the sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, yeah. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Oh, believe and receive it. God will perform it today. Hey, hey, just believe and receive it. God will perform it today.
Believe it, and receive it. I love that. Believe it and receive it. Say, I believe.
I believe.
I believe. I believe. I will receive all the goodness that God has in store for us. Woo, what a day, what a day, what a day. We do not take for granted that you clicked on today to hear all this message. Can I say, today could not have been any more ordained? All right. Woo! Woo! I really wish we had a house full today, because I'm afraid that dream that I had last night, when the Spirit of God came to me, there were miracles going on, there were healings going on. And you know what? In my dream, I even slipped in speaking in some tongue. But know that we love you. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you want to enact and starting a miracle happen, give today. So therefore we can pray over your giving. We can believe in a miracle for you today. Thank you very much for joining us.
And you know, it has been an ordained day, because we don't all get together sure we're all saying on the right thing. It just happens that way. I said with affirmative prayer, Jesus said, you ask for it, you believe it, and it's already there. And then Reverend Richard comes up and says, then the song says exactly the same thing. And we don't plan all that out. It just happens because we all just receive that download from Spirit and then let it radiate out to you. How amazing is that? Yes. And so if you are joining us globally for the first time, Richard said he wanted to know the house was full. It is. The world is full, and it is now watching us. And if you are here for the first time, or even the second or third or 10th time, go get your free gift at firstunity.org/free gift. That is a free gift for you, and for this month, it is a companion workbook that Reverend Richard Boggs wrote that goes along with Bishop Carlton Pearson's book, God is Not a Jew, Christian, Muslim. He is within us and around us. So that I know I messed up that title, but you Google it. Go get our free gift, and it'll tell you, and there's a link there. You can get the book if you don't have it. And we're giving you the workbook that goes along with it. And then go on over to ILLI.org, and get your free abundance class by Reverend Christy Hardwick. It's a 40-day abundance class that will change your life. So go download that and then see all the other classes that have been added on our Institute for Leadership and Lifelong Learning International. You will be blessed evermore. So our next influencer, today was an Influencer Sunday, and thank you so much to Florence and Romano for the 3 Pillars of Hope message. That is so awesome, wasn't it? Build your community. Ask for help, and then let the love come on in. Let the love come in. I know y'all have heard that before. So what an amazing message. So our next Influencer Sunday is August the 16th with Sister Jenna. Sister Dr. Jenna is going to be here. Then our first Unity View is every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Before we do our Sunday celebration service, we jump right over there for the first Unity View. So thank you so much for joining us on that. Give us all your comments and questions. We love it. Then on Monday evenings, join Reverend Dr. Aileen Curtin for yoga. Yoga is in the house at First Unity, and it is live streaming out to the world, and the world is loving our own Reverend Dr. Aileen. So join it. If you don't join it live, you can join it at any time you want, 24/7 via video. And then this week we have a Zoom class coming up on the 29th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's a lunchtime class on Alzheimer's and medical issues. Our own Reverend Nicole Reed, who is also an RN, registered nurse, is doing medical issues for our spiritual community once a month on Zoom, so join her for that. It's going to be fabulous. So thank you so much for being part of our village, part of our beautiful First Unity community. So come on, Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes. Let's get this peace song.
AKA at Unity, known as Myrtle Fillmore in the making, Sharon Jabins. So don't go too far away. We'll be right back with you with a new way of expressing. Wow. And now for our peace song, wherever you are, if you would stand, let us just bring that energy up. You know what you stand for, and anytime you want to talk about peace, it's important to stand with it. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Stand. Yes. So here we go. Hit it, band.
Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Now there is peace on earth, yes.
That's right. Stop attempting to change the world. Change you. The world is fine. And when you change you, you have the eyes to see and the heart to hear. Join me in affirming the unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. For God is amazing. All the time. And all the time. God is amazing.
Here we go, y'all. Yeah. Today. Y'all want to get on the caravan of love? Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Everyone is free. We'll bring the young and the old. Won't you let your love flow from your heart? Every man join the caravan of love. Stand up, stand up, stand up.
Everybody take a chance.
Join the caravan. Don't you know, yeah.
I'm your sister. I'm your sister, don't you know?
Now the children of the world can see there's a better place for us to be. Yeah. The place where mankind is born, so neglected and torn. Stand up, everybody take a stand. Join the caravan of love. You don't need no ticket. You just get on board. Love you.
We greet you from the most innovative, most inspirational spiritual community in the world.
Please remember that we need your continued financial support more than ever. We practice prosperity principles and trust you will continue to give from your heart as you can.
Let's gather up all that energy.
You can text to give on your cell phone at 727-800-3493.
After texting our 10-digit number, you will receive a registration link. Click the link and enter your contact and payment information and tap process. After registration is complete, you will receive a verification text as well as a receipt via email. For future giving, simply send a text with the amount you wish to give and it will process automatically. If your credit card information changes, simply text EDIT to change your card on file. We are grateful to you beyond measure for your continued donations to keep our community thriving. Our doors may be closed, but our hearts are open.